Feel free to get started lying down or seated. Close your eyes. Relax your butt cheeks or whatever you have to do. I turned 40 yesterday at the time of this recording. And I think I've officially entered my fuck it era. Am I where I thought I'd be? No. I mean, we couldn't all grow up to be princesses and firefighters. But I'm so grateful for the detours in life because where I ended up in many ways is so much better. And the message that was coming through is really just don't rush your life. So this is a slow motion yin class where you get to be with yourself exactly as you are and hopefully fall deeply in love with the version of you that exists today. And take a long breath in through your nose and an easy sigh. Our first posture today is going to be happy baby, reminiscent of where it started for all of us. So coming onto your back, if you're not already there, we'll pull the knees in towards your chest and begin by finding length in the back of your neck, meaning tuck your chin ever so slightly, like you give yourself that double, triple chin feeling, and lengthen your tailbone. So a gentle press or roll your tailbone down towards the mat. And the integrity of the spine is the first thing we'll prioritize in our happy baby. And take a breath or two just to land there and feel the whole back body like a gentle carpet is covering your mat. And if it feels nice, you can take your knees a little bit wider and bring your hands to the backs of your thighs as if the arms are sort of this dead weight that just gently assists the knees wide and towards the floor, so outside the rib cage. And if you're feeling a nice sensation through the inner or maybe even the outer hips, you're welcome to stay here. If you need something a little deeper, you can start to put or push the soles of the feet towards the ceiling. And notice if your tailbone lifts. If the tailbone lifts, just guide it back down. And you might choose to reach your hands, your dead weight arms, with a grip around your shins or ankles. And then let the elbows hang. So the fingers are working, allowing the arms to be a heavy weight, guiding the knees outside the rib cage and gently towards the floor. And if you still need a little bit more, you could reach your hands for the outsides of your feet, or you could even hook your fingers around your big toes and bring the elbows inside the shins. Just take a moment to think about the tailbone rolling down again. Chin tucked, knees wide, heavy arms, strong fingers, and breathe. In Yin, remember we come into the pose and find our edge. Take our time to find somewhere sustainable. We resolve to be still here because we're going to stay for a while. And the deeper why behind what we're doing here is long held Still gentle, but not nothing sensation. Compression or length into various muscles, joints, connective tissue, fascia. It's the holds and stillness that allow the body time to open when it's ready. And just like if we pay attention to the detours in life, I think that's where most of the spontaneous, magical, wonderful things can be observed that we often don't notice because we're so busy rushing to where we think we ought to be. And in a yin hold, the same holds true. Our awareness, as that builds and shifts and changes, we learn to notice subtleties. And those subtleties bring us a deeper understanding of the language of the body. And so we breathe and we wait and we pay attention. And if we get bored, we notice that too. And we get curious about why. Do you think you're not being productive? You think there's something more important you should be doing right now? Why? And what I notice is as I hold stillness, sensation increases, not dramatically, but it starts to become obvious that something's happening here. Fuck it. Let's see where this leads us. When random shit pops into your mind, acknowledge it. Maybe you take a few deep inhales and exhales, audible, maybe a deep sigh. You know, the kind of breath that annoys you when someone beside you does it, but you're allowed to do that here. Make weird noises, take up space. Who cares? It's your experience. And evidence to suggest that the sigh is the body's way of really releasing built up tension. So never shy away from a good old sigh. Okay, let's release the happy baby. Ooh, sometimes you might notice that the exit from a pose is a little more intense than being in it. So be gentle with yourself. Bring your feet back to the floor and just slide your legs long. My blocks are in the way. Something's in the way, just slide it out of the way. And breathe to notice anything at all. Sensation, temperature. Just practicing building layers of awareness towards your experience. Rebound is a really important part of yin practice, not to rush through. I like to imagine all the little tissues and cells and fibers just have a moment to relax, absorb, integrate, reorganize themselves. And give the body a clean slate for our next posture. And for that, we will roll onto our bellies. And I love to move in a way that's lazy but intentional in yin. All right, just rolling over right onto your belly, and it might be interesting for you to have a pillow or bolster or blocks so we can pull those along with us. And we're heading into Sphinx Pose. So as you bring your hips and thighs to meet the earth, this is a mild spinal extension, and there's a few ways we might set this up based on what's comfortable for you. The first option would be to take the elbows, maybe to kiss the long edges of the mat, the forearms to the ground, and just see how that feels. If you need a bit more or feel like you could hold a bit more for the length of time we'll be here, which is 3 or 4 minutes, you can bring the elbows right underneath the shoulders. Now with either of these options, just like our hands in Happy Baby, there is work that happens in most yin poses. It's just not in our target area. So the shoulders are not the target area, the spine is. So press actively into the hands and forearms and elbows so that you create space in the neck. So Happy Baby, it was double, triple chin. This will look to create a little more space to move into through the neck. If you're feeling like that's a bit too much work or you'd like to be more supported, this is where blocks can be really nice. You can tuck blocks kind of just up against the ribs. And if a block is kind of sharp and doesn't feel super great, that's what I love a bolster for. So you can slide a bolster under the rib cage or around the ribs. And that just takes a little bit of the work out of the arms if you're just not feeling the effort today, which is cool. Now, I know I said no double, triple chin. That was for the setup. If you like, now that you're here and you found your pose and it makes sense to you to drop the chin and that length through the back of the neck feels good or that stretch feels good, and feel free to hang out there. Mild, broad sensation. I feel this through the front of my hip flexors a tiny bit. I feel some compression in the low back, never pain, never pinching. If it's wicked uncomfortable, take your elbows wider, lessen the back bend. And once you've found your edge, resolve to be still. Can we not fidget? And we'll stay for a while. I had to tuck my hair and itch my nose, but now I promise I will be still, oh gods of yin. I think I especially love a Sphinx pose maybe because I was a really weird child and I tried to learn hieroglyphs when I was like 8 or 9. I was not successful because I also have a terrible attention span. But I always was fascinated by ancient Egyptian everything. But I also find that it's one of the most relevant poses to counter modern existence and the strain that puts on the body. Like, it's always forward moving, hunching, closed. Think of like driving, texting, even walking. The spine rolls forward, we hunch forward. So many of the activities of modern life. And so I love a moment to find this very proud posture, opening the heart, shining the heart forward, thinking of moving forward. And not just on purpose, but with purpose. And the purpose doesn't always have to be arriving at a specific destination. I'm a big fan of detours in life. But on purpose for me is more about who you are when you get there, wherever there is. You're welcome to stay exactly as you are. If you'd like to spend the next approximately 60 seconds in something a bit deeper, you can press into your hands and lift the forearms and elbows away from the mat. So this is deepening the back bend. You will probably feel that right away. You can change your mind if you've got in here and it doesn't make sense for you. Or breathe, soften your shoulders, feel heavy through the hips. You could squeeze your butt a little bit if that feels interesting or supportive to your pose. Remember, in Yin, it's not all rest, it's not restorative. There are parts of the body that will work to support you. We just try to not make that the target area. Hello, Chiron. Chiron's my black cat, and he's named after a planet, Chiron, and he makes many cameos. She's just doing cat things. All right, let's release this pose. Slow but intentional, super slow motion. You can get rid of any props. And for the rebound, might I suggest crocodile. Stack your hands to give your forehead somewhere to rest, elbows wide, and then you can just melt your forehead down towards the mat. Release any squeezing through your bum or your feet or your toes or your jaw. What does it feel like to do absolutely nothing? Okay. Deep Yogi squat. As you rise up, take your hands to the mat so you can push yourself through a table, hands and knees. Chiron loves table. He loves to play in table. We'll find a few rounds of cat. Yes, that's you, buddy, and cow. Inhale, drop your belly, lift the chest, lift the gaze. Exhale to round the back super slow. You might even feel the decompression from our Sphinx happening in real time. Take a few more rounds with your breath. It's just a moving rebound. It's hard to stay still for forever. Maybe a couple of little side bends or neck rolls. And Yogi squat. Couple of options. If you like a fluid transition, you can tuck your toes and sit back towards your heels. Press into the floor with your hands and then come over the toes to drop the heels down. There you are. But if, like me, you need a little bit more support today in your Yogi squat, you could grab blocks or again your bolster to sit on. And so the feet are wide, whether the toes point forward or outwards, doesn't really matter too much. And you can also choose different heights for the blocks as well. And we're looking for sensation through the outer hips here. You are welcome to use your elbows or triceps as a self-assist. And we'll settle here. And what does it feel like to release all expectations of what you think this pose should look like? If your eyes are closed, I did such a big eye roll when I said, what do you think this pose should look like? Because this is not performative yoga. I know that exists out there. I've been guilty of it before. This is deeply introspective, interoception. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Like proprioception is where your body is in space, sort of like an external awareness. Interoception is what it feels like inside. And gosh, it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of that. They will never be able to feel things exactly the way that you do in your body. And so it means the way you're feeling it is fundamentally the only thing that matters. If, like me, you found a little bit more space in your body since we started, you could even remove blocks or inch the feet a little wider. There's no right or wrong, just building layers of awareness. It's another one of those poses like happy baby that builds layers of intensity as we remain still. Can you breathe through that? Can you make a judgment call that there is much to be learned by staying and focusing and experiencing something, even if it's mildly uncomfortable. Consider the resilience that that builds. But it's also, yin is one of those things that rushing it doesn't make the transformation happen faster. It's like when you rush your life, it doesn't make the end result better. I think often it can extract the value that you may have otherwise experienced by fully immersing yourself in, what I've lovingly come to call the detours. The slow motion observation. And falling in love with the small, tiny moments. Don't rush yin, don't rush your life. Give yourself space to fall in love with the version of you that exists right now. It's so perfect. All right, friends, unhinged yogis, let's come back to Shavasana. You've been really squashed up through the hips here in yogi squat, so come off your blocks carefully if you're on them. Find the floor carefully, slowly. I recommend that you take a Shavasana lying down so we can extend everything out. What feels sometimes really nice in final Shavasana is either blocks or a bolster under the knees. And just surrender all the way to the floor. Close your eyes. Notice anything about your experience right now. Maybe you feel something in your hips, or you feel your back supported by the mat. Maybe you feel nothing, that's okay. Maybe you feel a sense of calm, or you're someone who's checking how much time is left in the video because you have to rush to do something else. And especially if you're that last person, can you stay here for 5 really slow breaths? That's it, just 5. And wherever you are, whoever you are, I hope you feel a little calmer for a little longer. I loved moving through this slow motion yin. I love any opportunity to fall in love with the version of myself that exists today. And I hope that you give yourself space to do the same. We'll see you for the next one. Namaste. This is 40, everybody.